to carry him through.
All right.
Are we ready?
It's 3 o'clock. Yes, sir.
We in trouble.
At this time, I will call the meeting to order at this time. At this time, we're going to ask Councilmember Gordy to lead us in invocation.
All right, let's pray. Dear Lord, we just thank you for this day. And Lord, we thank you for just another opportunity to come together, Father, and to serve this great city, this great community, Father. I just thank you for everyone here, everyone not here, behind the scenes, the city employees, the department heads, the fellow council members, mayor, city manager, city clerk, city attorney, just everyone, Lord. I thank you for the leadership you provided us in this city, Lord. And I just pray that as we go about our city business today, Lord, that we just look to you, Lord, and we follow our hearts and we follow your will in everything that we do, Father. I just pray all of these things in your name. Yep. Amen.
Amen.
That's just a 3-month probationary.
I want to thank you, Councilmember Gordy, for that wonderful prayer. I see we don't have anyone to address council at this time. We're going to move to the Planning Commission. I see that Angel.
Yes, sir, Mr. Day. We did not have a planning commission meeting for that day since it was election day, so we didn't have anything on the agenda.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Melody, City Clerk.
Yes, sir. Just had a few dates to go over from our calendar. Of course, tomorrow our council meeting at 9 a.m. That'll be over Zoom. And then we'll have the actual meeting to canvass the election results at 12 noon at the Martin Idlehour Park Community Center. So we'll have that. Then there's Labor Day on Monday, the 7th. Our next work session in September is the 14th at 3. As far as I know, that one will be by Zoom. The 15th council meeting on September the 15th, that meeting is set still for 6 p.m. in person at the 5th Street South Youth Center. That's been set up that way since the beginning of the year. We're going to have to keep that one in person because of a bond issue. Mr. Smith could explain that if y'all have any questions about that. And then looking ahead in October, just briefly, we've got October the 5th work session at 3 p.m. Then a council meeting.
Can you hear me, Melanie?
Yes, sir. I can hear you, Mayor.
All right, I'm having to use my phone, so I apologize. Mike, I'm using the phone, so this is going to have to suffice.
Now.
Oh.
Yeah, I can.
Okay.
Can you all hear me?
Yes, we
Yes,
can hear
sir. Yes, sir, Mayor. We're down at the City Clerk. She's go ahead, Melanie.
Okay. Our first council meeting in October is October the 6th at 9 a.m. As far as I know, those council meetings right now will be by Zoom unless things change and we need to revisit that and have them in person. October the 12th is a Columbus Day holiday. And then our last meetings in October, October the 19th at 3 p.m., the work session, October the 20th at 9 a.m., council meeting. As far as I know, those meetings will be by Zoom unless something changes between now and then. The only other thing I had to go over with everybody are some board appointments. When I know it's the same mayor and council, but it's the new mayor and council. When y'all take office again in November, your first meeting is the organizational meeting. And when you hold that meeting, there will be a position on the Downtown Redevelopment Authority y'all need to start thinking about. That's the city council member. I don't know if that person stays the same or if y'all switch that around. And then also with the Planning Commission also, you have a council member on that one. And so that term's set to end when this term ends with your office. So y'all need to revisit that. The mayor has a mayor's designee on the Planning Commission. So he'll need to think about what he wants to do with that. And then every one of you have a position on the Housing Code Abatement Board that y'all will need to visit on that organizational work session in November. Now, according to the Code of Alabama, the people that are already on there, they can serve 2 terms, and 3 people on there this is their 2nd term. So the mayor's appointment, Dr. Gordy's appointment, and Mr. Day's appointment, the one they're serving right now, those appointments are the second term, so y'all probably have to pick new people. So you need to be thinking ahead on that for the Housing Code Abatement Board.
Okay, thank you, Melody. At this time, I know our mayor came aboard. We could hear him, but we can't see him. But Mayor, we're down to the city manager portion, and the mayor going to take over at this time.
All right, thank you all, and I apologize. Of course, my laptop was not working, but I'm thankful that I'm able to get the my phone here. I see you all.
We can see you too.
We can see you, Mayor.
All right, so we're going to go ahead under the city clerk. Wallace, at this time, we would like to call on all the department heads and council, as we've always done. We will ask that, do you have any specific questions? And if we can, for the sake of time, for tomorrow, if possible, let's go ahead and ask our questions today. And if there's any specific question that you all would like to ask at this time with any of the department head, and as I always start, I start with you, Mrs. Johnson. And let me say this: congratulations for being back on our team, which we were pulling for you. We got some consistencies, and congratulations. And with that consistency, and the stability we have, council, we really should move forward in the initiative that we're putting out there, along with our city manager bringing to us, as well as the team. So congratulations, Vicky. I wanted to say that. So with that, Mrs. Johnson, are there any specific question that you have at this time that you would like to ask any of the department head?
Thank you, Mayor. I really appreciate that. It was a lot of hard work, and that's what it requires to retain a seat of this magnitude. So thank you for that. I do have just a couple. First of all, I just hope everybody is doing well. We're at the peak of this pandemic, and it just alarms me to know that, you know, we're still going through this, but I just hope everybody is okay. So from that, Mr. Hunter, just any of our city workers, can you just fill us in? I know the Privacy Act, of course, but not specific, but is everyone okay within the city, and how we're functioning as a city?
We're functioning. We're going through our, valleys with people, far as having people here and there, whatever. Like you say, we're not going to discuss too much of who it is and what's going on with them. But at the same time, it's a shortage. It's a difficulty in hiring at this point in time as far as the city, but they're doing pretty good, and HR is keeping up with it real well as far as the numbers and the people. And I think with the rules changing so much through the CDC, how things are looked at, the HR has kept up with that real well, and the people are understanding it a lot better. But yes, we're going through some changes with it, but it's they're trying to do the best. Who's here? We're working a lot of overtime in public works and utilities with the people that's there, trying to make up for that, which is all the departments that fall short. So we've had some tough times, but we're finding our way through it. And it's a lot of people, like I say, the cream rises to the top, and it has. And they've done a lot of good things that's here. So we're making it.
Well, thank you. Thank you for that update. And the only reason why I asked as well was I get asked that. And so I want to make sure that, and everyone else knows that we're keeping all of our city employees and our staff, the city citizens, everybody in prayer. So thank you for that update.
Okay. One thing too, we are actually be patient with us on a lot of things, because keeping up between rain and the growth of the grass and keeping up things and having shortages, it's been real tough in that area there.
Absolutely. A lot of commercial development, but two in particular I just didn't know about, and I'd like to see if I can get just a little bit more information. There's a Phenix City car wash that's under construction. Can you tell me a little bit more about that, please?
Yes, ma'am. That is the one that's actually up in the, the one up there near the Chick-fil-A, the Phoenix City Marketplace. That one may be completed by now, but yes, we do have another one that we have seen plans on for the villages or for the Ladonia commercial, but that is still up under review.
Okay, and that's what I thought this one was, because I did see the sign out there on Highway 80.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
And that's kind of small. Number 11, the Wade store, is that alley or all? I'm not sure. I can't.
It's a Wade Store All, so it's a storage facility, and that one is off of Pierce Road, and part of it's inside the city limits, and a portion of it's not. But
Okay.
that one is up under construction.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. And just one concern and just a question for Chief Smith. Are you on, Chief?
Yes, ma'am, I'm here.
I just wanted to commend you on putting together the virtual academy, and just wanted to see how is that working out. Is all of our officers going through that virtual academy I Can't Breathe session? And if so, how many sessions are there lined up for this virtual academy?
Well, how the virtual academy works is I write articles or take articles, and that's where I Can't Breathe training actually came from. That one was specifically to the response to the George Floyd incident.
Yes,
that
sir.
was an article written by a paramedic talking about the mechanics of breathing and how that happened. So every police officer in the department has already completed that training, and obviously there'll be more trainings like that. So this virtual academy is basically just a platform. So any training that I come up with, or that the officers, the training staff comes up with, we can put that on there. We also use it to push out policy, and the training academy actually has a good number of articles and training topics that are included. So when you see those showing up in my report on a monthly basis, some of those are in person, some of those are actual on the virtual academy. I'll say which one is which. So really the virtual academy just giving us another avenue to push out training, push out policy updates and educational information to the officers in a more efficient way, both virtually is why we went that. So instead of being tied to a classroom, they can do this on their own schedule and hopefully get a lot more information to the officers on a regular basis.
Okay, awesome, awesome. This comment is coming from out of District 1, Councilmember Bailey District, but the only thing the young lady said that when a call was made to report, when they did the report, stated that the officer was well trained and very polite. So I just want to pass that along to let you know that the different types of training and academies that our officers are going through, that is working. And so again, it's always a good time to recognize officers when they are doing their job the right way. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Mayor, that's all I have. I just want to make sure again that, or just state that I hope everybody is doing well, because I know we're just in still some trying times, and I'll continue to pray for each one of us as well as our city.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Johnson. Councilman, Mr. Gordy, any questions for any of the department heads?
I don't have any, Mayor.
Okay, Mr. Day, do you have any?
I just have a couple of them there. One of the things that I've received a call from the folks that live in the neighborhood about Dollar General. Said the Dollar General truck was coming up the hill and just tore down all the power wires up there. And that's the second time it happened. And they were asking, can we do something about the Dollar General truck coming through that neighborhood? And I told her I will call that in, but I'm announcing it now to maybe our chief can take a look at that and see what can be done about that particular item. One other thing I like to ask is go to the building department there by the old Dollar General. I think I asked this question last time, the old American Legion. I notice it's still standing there. We still working with those folks that are handling that project, Mr. Gill?
Ray Rogers.
I'm sorry, Mr. Day. Which Dollar General are you talking about? You talking about the one?
Oh no, O'Seal Road, 431.
O'Seal Road.
Yeah, the
431.
Okay. Yes, sir. That is still in the works.
Okay. Thank you. Let's see, the Parks and Recreation. I know the Central gonna be playing a gonna be playing a game up there. But I'd like to ask Mr. Hunter that how does the city fit in that? We're not liable if anything happened. We understand we're still under no mandate of COVID-19. If anybody gets sick or hurt or something like that, we are not, city not alive. Is that right, Mr. Hunter?
No, we're not. We had numerous talks with the superintendent. He's been dealing, Todd Hughes, our Parks and Rec director, can go over that with you a lot more in depth than I can, because they've been working really well together, along with also with the police chief and other departments that have to work with him. So Todd, you want to address that?
Yes, sir, Mr. Hunter, I will. Mr. Day, we're following the guidelines set forth by the state. We've limited the capacity to the stadium to 25%. School system is doing all their ticket sales and stuff, is doing it online, so there's no change of money or hands or standing in lines. And then they're doing. We had the one game with Hoover was the game we had so far, but they had a setup where they check temperatures coming in, and you had to have a mask to get in, and then they're making announcements throughout the game for people to social distance. So they've done a pretty good job of trying to eliminate any of the the possibilities of trying to get too close together or whatever.
Yeah, I was wondering about that. One other thing, Todd, how's that Miracle Park coming on up there? Are we still working on that project?
We are, Mr. Davis. It's kind of been put on the back burner just because of the situation we're in. We do have some drawings and stuff in, some layouts from the architect, and hopefully in the next little bit, this next budget year, we'll be able to get back focused on some of that.
Okay. The engineer department, public work. I like to say this, Mr. Hunter, and as I said on the last meeting, all those that were involved in Fifth Street South project, we're still getting positive feedback. A lot of folk excited. They say it looked good, and I just want to say that to Mr. Hunter and all those folks that was involved in that project, getting it completed. I want to say thank you for that. Mayor, that's all I have right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Day. Mr. Bailey?
Just have a couple. I have one comment, and then I got one question. I'm going to make my comment first. Comment would be to the police chief and the police department. Last week, there was a situation down here in front of City Hall, in front of the Chamber of Commerce building that was could have been very, very nasty, could have turned out really bad. There was a citizen down there that was going through some, might as well say excited time there. I had a weapon with him. Could have wound up being a self-inflicted gunshot wound possibly. I think I'm correct on that, but I stood over here and watched it unfold, and just want to tell our police chief and the policeman and all that was handling that situation, I was very impressed with the way they handled it. I was very impressed with the concern and care that they gave that individual when when they exited the car with him. They actually showed some compassion to him. They hugged him, was real nice to him, trying to be as good as they could, because I guess they knew that there was probably something mental going on there with that individual. I don't even know who it was, and that's fine. But it was just the opposite of what you see on TV. And I just feel like everybody in our city needs to understand that our police department, in my opinion, went above and beyond trying to show care and courtesy and concern for someone that was hurting at that moment. So I'm just real impressed with that, and just want to tell the chief thank you, and please tell all the people that was involved in that from a bystander's point of view, it was nice and impressive, and I felt really good about seeing the way they handled that and the concern that they had for that individual. So just want to tell you that, chief, and give you an attaboy on that. The next thing I have is a question that's been brought to me by a couple of the county commissioners that are running for election. This is going to be does the sign ordinance pertain to them in the county election and the federal election and the state election, just like it does in the city election? I know in the past that we've never been able to put stuff on right-of-ways and on city property and all, but I have noticed that in the past that some of that doesn't hold sometimes in these federal and these state elections and all. But I've had some of them ask me that, because I guess they're fixing to start putting out their signs, and they don't want to put them where they're being picked up Can somebody clarify that if we're going to enforce that a little stricter than we have in the past with the county?
Yes,
And,
sir. We're just, our ordinance is for the city. I talked to Chance Corbett about that today. We had a discussion about the day, and I told him it applies to the city right away, just like it did with the people who was running for election inside the city, as far as what we have in the city, because, you know, we got commissioners that's inside the city here too. But private property, he was relieved. He said thanks to him, because private property, we can't do nothing about that. People can have signs on their private property. And Mr. Graham, are you on here? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah, we went over that part about private property. So we're not bothering about private property, but the same thing as far as our rights of ways, they know they shouldn't have them there.
That's correct.
Yeah, that's the same thing I was asked. Yeah.
If you don't mind me interjecting pertaining to this, Mr. Hunter, will it still apply that you can't have signs on the city property of election day?
That's correct. Everything that went on in this last one is the same thing.
Yeah,
It's gonna go on there. Everybody being.
We need to make sure we clarify that.
Yeah, I did tell them.
You can't have it on this.
Yeah, yeah.
They can't have it on city property at the day of the election like it's been in the past. So we do need to clarify that.
I found that out.
Well, we did. We clarified it. They seen what happened. The reason why they was asking those questions is because what happened during the election. So we'll make sure we got clarification out then. And like I say, I talked to Chance at lunchtime today, and he understands it well. So, but like I say, a lot of people don't realize we don't control private property.
Well, that's the same.
Understand?
Sir?
What's that, Jimmy?
I said, does Ronnie Reed understand it? We need to send him a letter.
Well,
apparently he doesn't.
No, he won't.
Well, we just gonna follow the law. It's just that simple.
Yeah, that's the same question. Mr. Hunter elaborated to the same question that I was asked.
Yes.
And that was the same answer that I gave him, that private
Mr.
property.
Bailey, thank you.
Yeah, private property, you know, you couldn't tell a person when they could put a sign out on private property at what date or anything, which I think Mr. Graham had already told us that before. And I told him on city property and everything that it would be the same as it was with the city election, that in my opinion, within the city. I said, once you get out in the county, I guess it's up to y'all what you want to do in the county, that our ordinance only pertains to the city.
And the complaint that we got from one of the persons, same person, I guess, Ronnie Reed was involved with, that person, Melanie and her team did a fine job. They had discussed all this with all the people, and they had it in a package. And this person, where I got the call from, said, well, no, but she wasn't told that. But when she looked in her package, it was there. So I told her the same way that she was putting up the fuss and criticizing people, call those people up and say you're sorry. You know, if you want to complain about something and it's your own fault because you didn't look at your own package, that had nothing to do with the city. They did an effective and efficient job of carrying through this election. And I want to applaud the clerk's office for that.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that, you know, I gave them the right information and told them everything would remain the same as it did in the city election. And that, like you stated earlier, Mr. Graham has stated, and the mayor and everybody stated, that private property was a different thing. You know, you could put signs out whenever you wanted to on those.
I'm gonna say this too while we're on this, because it's been going on for too many years. Ronnie Reed on several occasions has really disrespected city workers. And I've told him several times he has no authority over any city workers. That's where he's going in, trying to push people around at the CAC, well, at the police department and other things like that. And I warned him about that. But he's always somewhere doing something he shouldn't be doing. And I don't mind saying that on air, because I say it to his face, and I'm getting sick of it, because our workers shouldn't have to go through that. If you all go and see what Gil Griffith went through the same day we were talking about, the incident with the guy there, we had the First Amendment right people that was in town that particular day. So we was dealing with a whole lot. And they kept getting in the way. And what they do, I told Mr. Griffith, I said, those were directives from me. That wasn't Mr. Gil Griffith going against anything. I said, film him then. This is the situation. If you film them, then you could put the unedited
film out
there. You can put it out there, because they edit what they don't want out. But you all, as you'll see that, the way he cursed at our worker, and the way he was doing. We probably should have put our barriers farther back to get there. I mean, we learned a lesson there too, but it was disgraceful the way he treated him. And the ladies up here in this building I work in, is several times that they've been here and threatened these ladies that they was gonna follow them home. They was gonna show their tags on YouTube and everything else. The only thing I was asking those people is this: if you're here to so-called from another city, of course, we don't have these problems inside the city. They was from somewhere else.
Right.
If you're here to protect First Amendment right, don't break anybody else's.
That's
And they continue, if you look at that on YouTube, it's disgusting what he done, because our officers did an excellent job. We met with some of the news media for almost 2 hours the other day. The chief is teaching some exceptional classes right now. And a lot of people know we have a good, decent department, but that department should be respected also. And they've been very patient, and they've done it's only so long that you can enforce law passively. People has got to still learn to respect. And I'll say this while we're on the air, this defunding thing that people running around the country talking about. If we had defunded the police department, didn't have one, who was gonna take care of that incident the other day?
Nobody.
Nobody.
Well, that's not even the issue.
I need to discuss it because, you know, it is an issue in some places, Mayor, because people who don't know and people who don't do this every day and look at these people there, they will listen to these people and talking about that nonsense. So yes, we have to hit it head on. You know, if we didn't have the experts that we had over there, you know, and they treated that real well with all the things that was, a lot of people don't know what's going on around them too, the excess amount of baggage is going on with those officers when they're trying to do their job. So we need to think about this, and that's why I'm happy to hear that a lot of people support our public safety departments.
Absolutely.
I appreciate that.
Well, I was impressed, like I said, with the concern and everything. They handled the situation perfectly. They figured out what was going on, then they came up with a game plan, and then they, you know, acted to the situation. But when they got that gentleman out of that car, they literally, 2 or 3 of them literally hugged him.
That's right.
Trying to manhandle him, they hugged him. They had compassion for him.
That's right.
Whether they understood what he was going through, I do not know. It doesn't matter. But he came out of that car a different person than when he went in that car with that weapon. And what could have happened could have been a whole lot different. And our police department, they need to understand that, you know, they just did an outstanding job. And I don't believe they did the outstanding job because of George Floyd. I think they did an outstanding job because they're an outstanding police department.
That's correct.
That's why they did it, because they were trained to do it that way. It had nothing to do with George Floyd, nothing to do with, you know, what a situation could be. That's the type of police department and police officers we have. And we're fortunate to have them.
Our officers was doing that before George Floyd case ever came about. They've always done it. And your veterans that you've seen over there, it was an excellent teaching moment because you got rookies that was looking at that and everything else. They're learning the type of behavior that we want to have in Phenix City with our citizens, you know.
And I just wanted everybody to understand that and realize that you know, they were prepared for that moment. They were well trained. That wasn't something that caught them off guard and didn't know what to do. They knew what to do. And what you said about all the signs and everything, Ronnie Reed's not the one that, you know, approached me, but I was approached by a couple of the council members that are running again. So I was just, you know, concerned that I wanted to make sure that I was giving them the right information, which is the way I understood it to be, what we passed. They didn't question why we passed what we passed. They just wanted to make sure that, you know, they had to do the same thing that the city officials had to do that were running for election. And I told them that they did. So I just want to make sure I was correct on that.
Yes.
Thank you.
I'd like to say this, Mayor, to Mr. Hunter. Thank you for shedding light on that, on those sign issue, Mr. Hunter, because I too have quite a few questions. I mean, quite a few folks called me, asked me about the same issue. Thank you for shedding light on that as well. Thank you.
Well,
thanks. And Steve, thanks for letting me interject. Are there any other question, council? Or any other things you would like to ask the department head?
I just want to ask the mayor, do we need to bring a camera with us when we watch you take your sprints this afternoon for getting on this thing a little late today? You gonna go to the
Yeah,
stadium?
you
and
know,
run
I've
his
been doing
split?
it
You
every
gonna-
evening.
I mean, we kind of like put that on YouTube.
Nobody's above the law. Hey, nobody's above the law. So you all bring your stopwatch and your whistle. I've been doing it every afternoon up and down the hill. So this is a good time. I've gotten in a little bit of a shape. So bring every one of you all bring your whistle and your stopwatch. All the council members, as well as the department head, as well as Mr. Hunter. You all bring your whistle and stopwatch. Nobody's above the law.
Councilmember Day may need to run with you now. The last time.
I had no control over that particular item, that particular issue that time.
Hey, nobody's above the law, Steve. The same thing applies to me. Late is late. But that's a great segue, what we've heard about our city. And you know, Phenix City is not a bad place. You know, there's things we're improving in and we're expected to improve in, but you know, we're just so thankful that we don't have some of the problems other communities have. I'm not saying we don't have problems, but we are able to do it with love and compassion and sincerity and for the right reason. And that's what I'm grateful for. And as I stated earlier, before we get into the agenda for tomorrow, I do want to say this, and this is a great segue. I did start off by congratulating Mrs. Johnson for continuing to where this team could be together for at least, by the grace of God, the next 4 years and continue to move the way we're moving. But I do want to say this to all of us, the council member. We are the leaders of this community. And we have to lead with the example of showing things is not about us. Because if we lead for any other reasons, then we're really doing a disservice, not just to ourselves, but to the rest of the council, as well as the department head, as well as the community. And I want to say this, and I'm going to be very articulate with it, or try to be. And the reason why it's important that we continue to stay together as leaders, to step up when things are overtly wrong or when things are overtly right, we have to stand for that. Because that's the way we have to continue to move, and we are the leaders of this community. Now, I say that to say this, that there's a lot of things out there about what's going on with the football team and the school system. Let me say this very emphatically. Even when we were appointing, once we appointed, we have nothing to do with that school system. We are out of the way. That's why I went to an electively, and some of that wasn't easy on people, and it wasn't easy on me because I've been on both sides. And I want to speak on this, is that just like our city charter, that city charter is dynamite and it can explode. And the only way it can explode for good is that we follow it. We don't get into the day-to-day operation. We support our city manager, we support our leaders, and more importantly, we support each other and supporting that team, him and his team. Now, I know there's some things saying out there about the football team and people getting involved, but let me say this, that is not our responsibility. The school system, being on that board for 12 years and 9 of those years being the president, the only employee that the board has is the superintendent. That's the only one. The superintendent runs the school system. He runs the day-to-day. That school system, the board should not cross that line. Their only job is to make sure policies and procedures are followed, and if there are some concern, they get with the superintendent. But the superintendent makes the recommendation just like our city manager does. So that guideline is dynamite for them, but it's important that they follow that. Now, there's a lot of things being said out there about this. We are not involved with that. We can't make decisions with that. We have to support our school system because I've said, and you all have heard me say, that the city is only as good as the school system, and the school system is only as good as the city. It takes both of us. So when we hear all these things about doing this and doing that, we have no jurisdictions over the Phenix City public school system, none whatsoever. But when we see that things are not done right and correctly for the sake of the whole of this city, We have to step up as leaders. We are the leaders of this community, whether we like it or not. We chose to be in this gig, this endeavor, but we have to make sure that right is right and wrong is wrong. Color doesn't have anything to do with it. Socioeconomics doesn't have anything to do with it. Where we live doesn't have anything to do with it. We all are part of this community to help raise it. So I just wanted to go out and say that, because there's a lot of things that been stirring, and my phone been getting calls, and probably some of you all. And the message has to be, we have nothing to do with that autonomous system, the board or the school. The process is work. We have proved that as a council following the charter. And we're a great team. I'm not saying that we not always agree. We all know we don't agree. But we have never, ever disrespected each other. We have never, ever clipped each other. So it was impressing upon me that I want to say that I know that there's some meetings been happening throughout this community, but we have nothing to do with the operation of that school system. The school board that has just been elected has to follow the process as we as council have to follow the process with our city charter. You do not get into the day-to-day operation. And I would tell you this, one of the worst ratings that the school system got back in 2013 or 2014, the SACS came in. Southern Association of Accreditation came in. The worst grade that the school system got was the interference of the day-to-day operation of that school board at that time. It's going to cause some lawsuits. It will call lawsuits for the city, but we have to make sure we support our school system. We got to support our school programs, and we got to support our head football coach. Now, I want people to understand that whatever is going on that's going to help make Phenix City better, regardless of who's in charge of it, we as leader has the responsibility to support them. And we do not make those decisions as far as nay or yay for whoever it may fit. But I just wanted to say that wholeheartedly, because we are the leaders of this community, and there's defining moments in every one of our lives. And I'm hoping that this doesn't become one. But if it does, this council have to step up to the plate wholeheartedly and know the difference between right and wrong.
Absolutely.
I just wanted to say that to everyone, because there's a lot of nuances out there, and some of the things that may be said is not true. I'm not going to go into detail with that because it's not our responsibility. Our responsibility is the city of Phenix City and its employees and its citizens. The school system is only as good as the city. The city is only as good as the school system. And we have to be mindful of that. And when things are right, like Mr. Bailey said, we brag on it. We wag our tails, we wag their tails. But if it's wrong, we as the leader of this city has to step up in that defining moment and say whether it's right or wrong. Okay? I thank you all for allowing me to say that. And if I said something you don't agree with or something that I should not have said, as we've always done, we are discussing it wholeheartedly, and we move forward, and we still continue to embrace each other and love each other and lock arms in arms and lift each other up. Okay?
Mayor, I had something to piggyback on some of the things that you said as I was listening to you very diligently. That is so true what you said. I concur with the statements that the remarks that you have made. My mind go back just last week. You know, I had to do some elaboration on some of the things that you said. It had been said to me, he said, you are the city council of District 3. I said, that is true. I said, but I have nothing to do with the school board, the school system. I said, I told him just like this, Mayor. I said, Mr. Whips, he run the school day-to-day operation. I said, he worked for the school board. I said, we have nothing to do with that. Matter of fact, you guys got to have an elected school board now. I said, same thing about our city manager. I have no authority to go to any department head and our city and tell them this or that. I said, we agreed not to do that. I said, we run the city through Mr. Hunter. Mr. Hunter worked for the council. That's why I told my citizens, Mayor, and that's what we got to do.
I appreciate that, Mr. Day, and I would tell you all this. There's a lot of things out there, but the thing that we can hang our hats on, we're going to tell the truth, and if it's right, it's right, and if it's wrong, it's wrong. And let me say this, and you all have heard me say this before, if we're thinking for standing up right going to cost us this gig, then so may it be, because it's not about us. It's about us doing what's right. So I did want to say that. I just wanted to express myself. I've been on both sides. And let me tell you, there was a time I fought against an elected school board. And I said I was on that team then. But some of the abuse and things and successful business people coming to see me, am I right, Melanie? You coming to see me and trying to push me to do this and that, you know, it was hard on me and people never understood, because the way I look at things is the bottom line. It's going to cost some of the school system money for the school board. That's good and fine, they have the money. But you got to understand that the way I look at things, which is probably a weakness, is sometimes I look at the bottom line too much, which is a weakness of mine. But let me tell you, I've been on both sides of that. And if we follow the charter and the agenda, they can be dynamite and they can explode, that it would flourish our city. And we have to follow that. And I just want to encourage us that we do that. And even with our school system, the school board has to realize this, that they have one employee, that's Mr. Randy Wilkes. They do not interfere in the day-to-day operation, just like we don't interfere with our city manager and his team. That's Randy Wilkes' team. And they have to make sure, and I'm gonna say this because I watched some of it on TV. A lot of them were saying they're gonna be hanging around in schools and all that. If I could tell them some kind of advice, do not do that, because whether you're wanting to send the message deliberately or subtly that you're the boss, but you're not the boss, because it can bring more damage than good. I've experienced that when I was on the school board, thinking that we're doing something good, but it's really bringing harm. I would advise them the only time to go in those schools and when they're invited. There's a lot of things out there about this football team and the coaches and some of the harsh things that have been said. Council, our responsibility is to run our city, but also to stand up. If it comes to a defining moment, I'm going to ask all of us collectively to take arms hand in hand, arm locked together, lifting each other up, and speak out what is true, rightful, and wholesome. And that's the only thing I ask that we continue to do, and we've done that, and I appreciate it. So if I said something that you don't like, we'll talk about it, and you know, we're gonna, at the end of the conversation, whether we agree or not, I can assure you this, we're gonna still love each other, and we're gonna still work forward to move this city. Okay? Thank you all so much for allowing me to do that. So we got Mr. Honey, anything you want to say? I know I kind of jumbled, but
you took care.
You spoke from the heart.
You explained it real well, and I think if we can get more of the public, and it may be, I hadn't looked to see how many people are watching us on Zoom right now, but people need to have a great understanding of these boards, the autonomous boards, when they are appointed. And there's always been a lot of confusion in that, you know, and they try to put pressure on the wrong people.
That's right.
Things, you know, and get involved, and you can't get involved in that. You know, you might have formed or have your own opinion, but you really don't know the whole story. And a lot of people put out opinions based off of things that they don't know, and that just starts more and more confusion throughout the community. As you say, I was visited at my place this weekend, and phone ringing and asking me questions about it. You know, I care about everybody and hope, and like I told people, it will work itself out the way it's supposed to work itself out with the appropriate people. But it bothers me when you got a youngster and you have so many adults with different opinions and pulling people one way or another. That can get real confusing. for that young person. And basically it was something that I don't get involved in. I just pray that the people that's involved with it make good decisions and try to make sure they steer this young person and that whole situation in the right direction, because everybody's not going to be happy about what goes on. But I hope they can have some kind of good resolution in doing things, because it's difficult when you run a city, because having people come here who don't know the whole story and try to tell me how to run the city every day, that can get rough sometimes. It can get real tough, you know, looking at our employees that get abused during the day and the things that they go through, that's pretty tough too. So, you know, I got my hands full here. You know, it's not one thing I do, I think I'm real good at, and I know I'm good at this, minding my own business. And a lot of people need to learn that until they know the whole story, you have to watch what opinion you form. And I hope they work it out. I'm praying for the system, but we all need to know what our functions are and what we're supposed to do until we are, you know, you're asked into something, you make a form an opinion and that's it, but you can't cross those lines. You know,
exactly. And let me say this, Council. With me saying what I said, and with you being in the leadership positions, and if you're agreeing, you're going to be attacked. Okay? But that's the defining moments I was talking about. Because again, at the end of the day, we know right from wrong. We knew how a crooked line looked before we knew how a straight one looked. So we know right from wrong.
Yeah.
So again, you're going to be attacked. But let me tell you this. This gig is not about us. And if we're concerned about getting votes and people putting us back in this position, then we don't need to be in it right now. Because we got to be about the people's business. And we got to be fair and wholesome. And we got to be loving. We got to be compassionate. We got to lift people up as those policemen did. Now, we can have some disagreement, but it's a right way you can disagree. But at the end of the day, our goal should be the same thing, is to lift this city forward. And that is inclusively. So thank you all. Thank you, Mr. Hunter. We're going to go ahead and get into the agenda if that's okay with the council. We're going to go ahead in the morning at 9 o'clock. This is the first meeting of September. We're going to have our meeting by Zoom again. And hopefully, if I don't have my computer working, hopefully I have this phone. But I am going to call the meeting to order. And the invocation is going to be done by Councilmember Gordy, as well as the Pledge of the Legion. He will lead us with that. The presentation and proclamation, we do have several employees that will be awarded in the increments of 5 years, and I think it's gone all the way up to 20. So we have a variation of increments of 5 years, which is one of the best things that we can do, that our city manager, Mr. Hunter, and our Human Resource Director, Stephanie Chastain, would give honor where honor is due for their years of service. And as I said, as the years of service, which is a mighty thing to do. After that, under the city clerk, I will take these separately because Mr. Day still got to run some wind sprints like I do. Today, he did not get on the work session. He was late getting on, didn't get on it at all.
I ran mine last week, man.
In the Special Olympics, you might have.
So we're going to take those separately. I will call for a motion in a second to approve the August 17th work session. Again, because Mr. Day was not there. And then I will ask for a motion in a second for the approval of the council meeting on August the 18th. And we will take those separately. And proceeding on, council, under the city council, there will be an opportunity for any unfinished business. And if there are some that that would be wanting to address that, that would be the time to do so. Then on the resolutions, on the administrations, we have a resolution number 2020-217 to be ratified in reference to adding poll workers from the Phenix City municipal election on the 25th day of August. I will ask the clerk to read that, and I will ask for a motion in a second to ratify. Any questions, comments, or discussion? Okay. Proceeding on the resolution is on administration. Is a resolution number 2020-218 to be ratified in reference to authorizing the mayor and the city manager to sign document with ADECA for grant assistance to replace 4 vehicles in the Public Works Department. I will ask the clerk to read that, and after she reads that, I will ask for a motion and a second to approve. Any questions, comment, discussion?
Yeah, Mayor, you know, like, I'm reading this, but Mr. Hunter, I know these are high dollar vehicle, which we badly need, I'm sure. We are seeing how this works, but can you have somebody elaborate for the citizens of Phoenix City and tell them how this project going to take place, how this bid taking place?
Yes, sir. This is this is a super deal right here. Angel, you want to go over this?
Yes, sir. We were, you know, as Mr. Hunter always has this task to do, we were looking through what kind of grants we could apply for. And we came upon this one, Volkswagen Settlement Eligible Mitigation Action. Basically, Volkswagen was doing some things environmentally that they were not supposed to be doing, and it sort of got swept up under the rug. But then it come to find out that they were producing more nitrous oxides than what they said they were. So they were got into the settlement, and now Alabama has a pot of money to where if we say we are going to take some of our old vehicles that are producing the nitrous oxide and get those off the road, then we can replace them with new vehicles that have better environmentally friendly engines and everything in it. So this is what we are going for. So we are eligible. It's broken up by classes of trucks, you know, small, medium, and large. So right now we're going to apply for 3 medium trucks, which would replace a garbage truck, a dump truck, and a service truck. And then one of our large trucks is a trash loader. You know, we actually have these on a wish list, is what we call it. And, you know, as budgets come up every year, you know, we see how much, you know, we can get if we can get anything. So these are at the top of our wish list. So by this coming online, we're able to possibly get 4 trucks for what we would have paid for the price of 1, because it's an 80-20 match. So we're going to get $415,960, and we'll only be spending $103,840. So I think it's a pretty good deal. It will allow the Public Works Department to get some better equipment, and most importantly, it will help us in our effort with air pollution in the area and our environmental stewardship.
That's very good. Thank you for that, Angel. Mr. Hunter, can she elaborate on that for the citizens tomorrow? I think that's a good deal. Y'all did great on that.
That's another one of these things that they're doing right. They're working on the team. We got an outstanding team.
Yes, I can see. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Angel. Good job. Next, any other comments or discussion, council? Questions? Again, if we have any questions, I'll ask them today for the sake of time on tomorrow, if possible. Next on the resolution and administration is a resolution in reference to approving the final assessment in the matter of David Jason Winton and his wife, Tammy Renee Winton, versus the City of Phoenix City case number 53-CV-2019-900143.00 in the amount of $85,512.98. We'll ask the clerk to read that, and after that, we will ask for a motion and a second, council, for approval. Are there any comments, discussion, or questions?
Just one question, Mayor. Does this finally put all that stuff to rest up there in Saddlebrook?
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead, y'all.
We are in the final stages of trying to get sod. Since it has rained so much last week, the sod companies weren't cutting any sod, so we are trying now to finish up that. And once we get the sod placed, we will be finished with the project.
And this will tighten up the other side of the lot, so we'll be done with that whole little area right there with no other homeowners or no one else, you know, being affected by it is what I guess is what I'm asking.
Yes, sir.
Good, thank you.
And we are saving a ton of money, council.
I'd like to make a comment about that.
Yeah.
Okay. You know, this was a situation again that we faced in the past where when that subdivision was constructed, it wasn't done right.
Right.
And we had to pay for it later on because it wasn't done right. And I wanted to remind y'all about some situations we've had, like, and Angel, you correct me or you add to anything that I missed. We had that problem with pipes up at St. Andrews that cost the city. We had that mess out at Tate Furniture Company.
That's right.
That cost us money. We've had a bridge washout that wasn't done right to begin with. None of y'all remember this, but I was on the city council when, and y'all will probably remember the Shoney's parking lot collapsed.
I remember that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the mayor's car went down in the hole.
Right.
Mayor Jane Gillette, there again, and Kent Bragg's moving company flooded one time behind the old truck stop, and we've had another suit up in Rock Island that cost us $75,000, where the when the construction of the subdivision was going on, they put in an improper pipe that wasn't on the plans. So this is just another one of those situations where it wasn't done right to begin with, and unfortunately, the city has to assume the liability at a later time.
Yeah, but Jimmy, we still saved the town of money based on what was being asked for.
Oh, yes, we sure did. And Jim and Mike Patillo did a good job. I couldn't go that day because my defibrillator went off, but I stayed in touch with them on the phone. I think they did an excellent job. They started off in the mid $200,000, and they negotiated it down to that, and I think they did a great job. But I just wanted to remind them of the background we've had in these types of situations that causes the city so many problems.
And the other thing on there to add to that, Mr. Graham, it's been several places where we had to discuss with engineering firms where they're saying we're not working with them and to work with them. We spent out millions, you know, the homes, and the city has no business owning any property inside a subdivision, period. So I've been on the phone with a couple of people today discussing that lot that's up there that want to try to purchase that lot. So, because we will be selling that. But in the other area, we was able finally to get the other home sold that we had done from years ago, where people are saying that they're inspectors and trying to intimidate inspectors and threaten people's jobs because they was trying to make them follow the rules. So we spent out several $1 million, and there's other things out there, and we're gonna be bringing up something before this is over. We had towards the end when I speak again about another replacement, not having just something to do with something that was done wrong, but something that's had gotten old that's probably gonna rot out, and we're making changes to it. So it's a lot. I just hope that the council can really see that when these department heads are doing their jobs and we got guidelines and rules and regulations that's in place, that they're in place for a reason and they have to be followed. And for people to want to intimidate people, okay, I'm gonna say this and stop there. I worked with a person in the fire department that did not, years ago, and the chief that's over there now, Chief Kennedy, till today can tell you, we can look at things from way back where inspectors was turning, that particular fire marshal at that time was turning his head and looking at the other way. And we're paying the price for that still to the day. But the other price that we pay is those people out there that's still in business is wishing for that person because they knew that person would always turn and look the other way. And it cost us some serious issues even till today. And we'll be facing those issues for years to come. So it's not that we always want to work with people and but we do work for this city first, which is still working for those same people that live in this city. But our job is to make sure that we put things there that's safe and that can last, and that it just don't come right back onto new ventures and new developments supposed to last for a while before they become a burden on the city as far as income and repairs. And that's why everything was put in place that way. But if you accept things that's not right, you would have to start maintenance as soon as the bond is up on those particular areas. And as we're going forward, we're also going backwards and sideways too. You know, and that's not the intent of it. The intent is for that to last before the city take over those particular, the streets or whatsoever that we have to take over. And the more people, and there's a lot of people out there that understand that perfectly, but they're looking at what their profit is going to be. They're not worried about what the taxpayers are going to have to turn around and pay. And every time we have one of these situations, we have to go back and straighten it out. That's money that could be used elsewhere to take care of things. That's all I have to say.
I just wanted to say that I appreciate Jimmy and Jim McCoon and Chance and all them and Mike Patello and all them working hard on this because, you know, so many people have gotten on to all of us, me included, as to why we work so hard with one homeowner on one side of that property and weren't willing to work with the other homeowner. But we had to get to a point where you could work with other homeowners and where they were willing to come to the table and sit down and work out something. And we're at that point. And so to finally put something to bed that, you know, can be finished and done. And I hope that Jason and Tammy and them, you know, will be happy with the settlement, happy with the way it turns out. The city, you know, did everything, in my opinion, that we could do to make the situation correct. And I think all the people involved in that really did a fine job and have worked on it, changed the thing 2 or 3 times, trying to make it work for everybody up there, Angel and them have. So I really believe we went above and beyond what you might have had to do, but that just shows that what the mayor said a while ago, we try to do what's right for everybody.
Exactly.
So, you know, I appreciate everybody's understanding, you know, that it took a little while to get it done, but I'm just glad to see that it's done. And maybe some of those hard feelings and ill feelings and all can now be swept aside and everybody be happy. And it's a learning lesson for us. And it's an example we can use for other developers when they come in and want to have things done. This situation is a prime example that you can use for them developers on showing why you have to do something correct and why you have to do it the right way. Whether this doesn't happen 20 and 25 and 30 years down the road and it look like a decision we shouldn't have made at that time. Because somebody's going to sit here 30 years from now and question what we did. So we got to do it right now and do it correctly now to where they don't have those issues and problems 30 years from now that should not have happened. So I appreciate everything that everybody did. I really do, because that was in my district. I have a lot of people when I go to the grocery store and they'll always hit me up on this.
And you know, Mr. Bailey, our job is to make sure that you all don't have to face that. And that's
part, as the mayor said, that's part of the gig. So
it's okay to get the criticism. That's fine. I just want to make sure we're not wrong.
That's right. And that's what I keep telling people.
Exactly. Every day, but I want to make sure we win.
That's right. So I thank everybody for that. I really do. You went above and beyond. And in my opinion, I don't know the figures that was ever involved in it. I'm not supposed to know and don't have to know. But that looks like a very, very reasonable figure to me to finally put all this situation behind us. And it's a learning experience for all of us.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Bailey. Thank you, Mr. Hunter. Thank you, Jimmy. Proceeding on the administration. We have a resolution in reference to granting a tax abatement to Arbor Vital B LLC. I will ask the clerk to read that, and council, we will ask for a motion and a second on that. And are there any questions, comments, and discussion on it? The new opportunity for us here in Phoenix City and some of the employees.
Can we get Sean or somebody to elaborate on this tomorrow? Would it be Sean or who could it be?
Sure, Steve, Mr. Bailey, and I'll mention this too, just so you know, since we haven't discussed this, and I guess in a time where COVID has caused development to look a little different than we're used to, it's good to have a project on our hands. And so what this company does is they actually extract and process hemp. And so not only is it going to give our a new opportunity for a new company, it's going to give our growers throughout the county that are growing hemp a buyer locally, which is something that we've never had. So it's going to give them an opportunity to grow too. But you're looking at 14 jobs. Out of that, what I want to mention is 4 of those jobs are at a salary of $150,000 or more. So substantial salaries on those first 4 jobs. The other 10 are hourly, and their hourly wages are better than most too. So they're starting entry wage is about $15 an hour. So looking at a great company, one of the things that's different about this one is they are inside the police jurisdiction, yet outside the city limits. So we did have to go to the county commission and get their consent on the property tax portion. And I want to say that earlier last week, they did give their consent on this project on the property tax, on their portion of the property taxes to be abated as well. So that's already been completed.
Good. Thank you,
John,
Sean.
of those other 10, aren't 2 of those engineers?
Yes, sir. That's the current breakdown. So 2 engineers and then 8 hourly workers. That's correct. Yeah, you've done your homework.
Pretty good paying jobs.
Hey, John, I'm looking at the lease. The leasing this ground for what, $400,000?
We're not on that one yet, Arthur.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, we're still talking about the hemp.
I'm sorry.
Any other questions, comments, or discussion? Okay, if not, and Sean, eat your Wheaties in the morning. You and Angel. Proceeding on, E, under the administration is a resolution in reference to amending resolution 2019-44 in reference to the ground lease with the Phenix City Housing Authority. I will ask the clerk to read that resolution. We know we approved that back in February of 2019, just now coming to fruition. But I will ask the clerk to read that, and after she reads that resolution, I will ask for a motion and a second to approve. So at this time, Mr. Day, since you was asking, do you have any questions, comments, or discussion?
We're going to release this portion of the ground to the Housing Authority, $400,000. And how long that lease going to last?
75 years.
75 years?
Yes,
and
sir.
Then if they still want that portion, start over again?
That'll be whoever in place, what they decide.
Yeah. Okay.
That's
good enough. Okay. Okay.
It would be great if some of us are around, but that's highly unlikely.
Okay.
You can tell them what you did last time also when they renew it. Yeah.
Okay, thanks a lot. I appreciate it. I just want to get some clarity for Arthur, not for Steve.
I'm not gonna worry about it next time.
Any other comments, questions, or discussion? Council?
Mayor, the change that we're making is where they were going to pay the $400,000 under the original resolution up front. They're going to have a year to pay the $400,000 because they're having to apply for financing, and they've got to have control of the property when they do the financing. So that's the only change in the ground lease.
But they have a time frame to get the $400,000.
Yes. To July 1st.
Yes.
Correct.
Okay. Proceeding on the building department. We have a public hearing and approval of resolution in reference to the fixing of costs incurred by the city of Phenix City for removal of substandard structures and the establishment of special assessments upon properties located. And I will read those properties out on tomorrow, council. And I will call for a public hearing and give any person who would like to address us through phone. And we will entertain that. And after that, we will ask for a motion to approve the resolution. Any questions, comments, or discussion on that? And if it's the pleasure of the council, we want to take all 3 of those in one vote, in which I will read out on tomorrow.
Okay.
Is that okay, council?
Let me ask you, the public hearing. So no one will be set up at the municipal building like in the past. Melanie went over there. So it'll just be phone conversations if they call in, not in person.
Yes, and the reason for one of those, Vicky, and Melanie, correct me if I'm wrong. Golly, what was that? That was because of something from the state laws that we had to have someone in person, Melanie?
Well, the other time when I was over there in person was because we didn't have in the public notice or by Zoom. Okay. We didn't state that in that public notice.
By the law, exactly.
So, but in this one we did. We do have it stated that it would be, you know, at 1111 Broad Street or by platform Zoom. So, and Mayor, you may want to just give my phone number at my desk if
Yes.
anybody wants to call in, and I'll just have it turned up.
Yes.
I'll
Okay.
get that number for you.
Yeah. Okay. As well as 334-448-2726. And
Yeah, yes, sir. That's it.
you don't know your own phone number, Melon? I saw you looking to your right, to my left.
I know it.
I'm
I
just
just didn't know if I
teasing
could say it tonight or not.
Don't take that to heart.
All right, y'all don't get on Melanie now.
No, we not. But Ms. Johnson, did that answer your question?
Yes, I wanted to clarify that. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay. Proceeding on, council, on the building department, we have a resolution in reference to rescinding resolution number 2020-211 in reference to the demolition of structure located at 1304 17th Court. We will ask the clerk to read that motion for rescinding that motion, and I will ask for a motion in a second to approve. Okay?
All right.
And then after that, I will ask the clerk to read a resolution and public notice in reference to setting a public hearing date and fixing demolition costs associated with 1304 17th Court, Phenix City, Alabama. We'll ask for a motion to approve that resolution, but at first I will call for a public hearing. Excuse me, I will call for a motion to approve the resolution as well as the public notice. Setting the public hearing, which would be October the 6th, I think. I think that's correct. So after that, after the clerk read that, council, I will ask for a motion for the approval of the resolution as well as the public notice.
And Mayor, if I may, what we're having to do there is reset that public hearing date. So that's why we had to rescind the first one and then redo it,
Exactly.
setting that public hearing date on further out.
Exactly. Which I think is October the 6th. So
Yes, sir.
that's why the rescission is being done. Any question, comments, or discussion, council? Okay, next on the Parks and Recreation Department, we have a resolution in reference to authorizing the mayor and the city manager to sign contract documents awarding a bid to Amazing Escapes in the amount of $62,880 annually for 3 years for landscape maintenance. We'll ask Mrs. Lee to read that resolution, council, and we'll ask for a motion in a second on that. Any question, comments, or discussion at this time?
I like to ask this question. Are these folks local? Are they from out of town?
No, so they're local.
From out of town?
Are they're local?
Yes, sir.
Are they? Okay.
Okay, I read this. Let me ask a question here. I noticed the area that they're going to be servants, but let me ask this question. Maybe I should. I gotta ask it. But anyway, what plan do we have to improve in the near future to improve Lane Park and Southside Park? Do we have plans in the near future to improve those two parks?
No, this doesn't have anything to do with Meadow Lane and
yeah, I know it doesn't. But I was just looking at the monetary spent in that area. I know it's downtown. We want our downtown to look good. I'm aware of all of that, but I'm just asking this question, General.
What are you talking about, Mr. Day? It's
more than downtown, Austin.
Yeah.
It's in all the districts.
Excuse me, Mayor?
It's more than downtown.
Yes, sir. I read that, Mayor. Where it's up in north side up there, Moon Lake area. I read that was on Whitewater Village and down on Broad. I read all of that, Mayor. I just asked the question.
Okay, no, you got something, Mr. Day. This is totally different. This is for maintenance of those particular areas. Inside those parks where you're talking about down there, we can handle that ourselves. That's what Parks and Rec take care as far as taking care. This don't have to do anything with improvements, anything like that. This is regular taking care of the maintenance portions of it.
Okay, Mr. Hunter.
To answer your other question,
Mr. Hunter, I
yes,
understand all of that, Mr. Hunter. I
yeah,
understand all that. But my question still comes in this matter. It's a general question. Do we have any plans to improve those two parks, the Meadow Lane Park and Southside Park? I understand what you said, Mr. Hunter.
okay, let me get to it here, Mr. Day. Good God of mine. Let me show you something. Did you not see the new splash park down at the park, down at Spencer Rec?
Yes,
Also,
sir.
did you see the
Yes,
inside
sir.
of the gymnasium? Did you see the doors? Did you see the continuing maintenance that we have to have down there with people vandalizing and tearing things up? What else is it that people were saying? And understand this. Now, it's another part I need you to understand. Meadow Lane itself is on school property.
That's what I know. I'm aware that we went through that before.
Football field and everything is, but a lot of money has been invested in Meadow Lane Park over the past couple of years. Playground, furniture, and everything else. I'm down there just about every morning of the week, and I see where you're coming from. You know at Rosemont, you know at Southside. What we've done there with the splash park over the past few years. The other things that we are looking at is probably in the baseball field, where you got the restrooms areas and stuff like that, because it's continuous maintenance and it's continuous, I believe, being, you know, a lot of people are vandalizing them and stuff like that. But far as putting things in the park that you would want, we expend a lot of money on the parks and stuff like that. Now, I can't help it because all our parks look different to a certain degree. Every one of them, we're in the area.
Well, Mr. Hunter, I understand all that, but I was, you know, when you go down to Meadow Lane Park, go down that little loop, all that mud and dirt right there, I was just wondering, then we could plant some grass or something to make it look better in that area right there.
Yes, sir.
If you went down there, like you say, you see what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about, by the baseball park where the bathrooms are.
Yes.
That's one of the other things we gotta do with our ongoing maintenance back there in the back section where it circles around right there. I know exactly what you're talking about. At the same time, you also look and you know we got a yearly budget. And we've been outside that budget on several occasions. So you know, they was just discussing the track. We had to make sure that the track and around the track was taken care of at the same time, putting the splash park in there and stuff like that, because there's a major cost to everything. So we are looking at what we have put there, but that's coming aboard. I see what you're talking about.
It's coming aboard. That's all I need to hear, sir.
Oh, it's always coming aboard, Mr. Day. You'll spend $1 billion, won't you?
Hey, you know, let me elaborate now.
Yeah.
The reason I ask these questions, Mr. Hunter, because the question asked to me, these things asked to me. That's why you see me asking these questions. They come to me, these same questions. I say, I'll pass on to my city manager.
I'm with you 100% because they get me all the time.
And one other thing, Mr. Hunter, while we're on the park,
yeah,
this particular, I'm not gonna say your cousin, but this guy, there's a large dead pine tree down at Austin Summer Park. And I don't know if you guys noticed that or not. He showed it to me. I said, yeah, I said, we'll pass that on as well. We don't want that tree to fall on that provision down there that we all just improve on the top down there. You know,
I see you talk about top. Them should be on top of that. It's to the left-hand side when you get there. When you first right there.
We're well aware of that. We're
exactly what you're talking about.
Okay.
They're on top of it now, but you know, we got. They get me too, Mr. Day, all day long. Tell them, explain to them how the budget works, Mr. Day, and we getting it one at a time, and we're getting there. Well, I understand where you're coming from. You be on top in parks.
All right. All I can tell you is after 75 years from now, we'll make sure they name one of them parks after you.
You got that right, Steve.
But I ain't always going to put the memorial name in that. I want to name the Arthur Day Park before we have memorial put on that. Yeah, Arthur Day Jr. Park. Yeah.
Hey,
but I don't want to say Memorial Park.
While we're talking about that, this is on a serious note, Mr. Hunter, on a serious note.
Yes.
I know the drugstore is coming in Renfrew. I don't have nothing to do with that. I know it's coming. That question been asked too, but I told him it's coming. But anyway, what can we do? What procedures do we need to take to get a ATM machine down there in front of Renfrew grocery store, in the store, some type of finance thing down there?
The banks are in control of that. You want to talk on that, Mayor?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
They
Yes, sir, man. Come on with it, Mayor.
Yeah, that's going to be decided by banks based on the traffic flow. As when I say traffic flow, not just the traffic flow of automobiles, but the traffic flow of the foot traffic flow. And I will tell you with some of the things that are coming down there, and as that area become more and more condensed, because no bank is going to put an ATM in there if it's not going to make some money as far as interchange income. It's in a great area where you can get a lot of interchange income because a lot of people are coming from different parts of Georgia and Alabama coming through 431 going down to Panama City. So it will be a study, and in fact, there are some ATMs that banks has taken out due to the fact that it's cost them money because of they're not making the interchange income. So, but the banks has talked about it. I do know that Synovus had talked about it and are looking at it, and there's some other banks too. Wells has also, but there are some branches that are even closing right now here in Phenix City. By even that one of our branches is closing, even one of Wells branches is closing. So right now the mindset is not on ATM, but I will tell you that could change and will change as more as that area become condensed in population. And so they will put an ATM there quicker than they will a branch because it's it will cost them if it's making money. So that I'm confident that it will come based on some of the things that in the pipeline of coming down there. So it's going to only become a condensed area. But
that's one of the questions asked me. Somebody asked me about that. I thought I passed that on as well.
Yes.
I tell them
like question, Mr. Day. That's a good question. That's a good question.
I tell them like this, Mr. Hunt.
Very good question.
Mr. Hunt, I tell them like this on the south side. I said, nothing I can do, I pass on to my city manager.
I told him about it. I've been asked that question. That's one of the things on the list, but the mayor did a good job of explaining that. They talk about, a lot of people think the ATM is just there to give you money and here, there, whatever. They got to be able to make money. And like you talk about interchange, and they don't understand that part of it. Now, there's some people that got private ATM machines that can come in and bring it there, but the cost that's going to be on it is excessive. The thing here, and exactly. It won't load, so you always would prefer for it to be a bank.
Yeah,
it will save the citizen money if it is a bank.
But I guarantee you, like we did everything else, it's coming, and it's a lot of things that we're working on right now. Is we have plans right now for the other things that's going in that particular spot. So, in the different spots that's down there. So, it's like I say, give us this COVID. It slowed up a lot of things and changed a lot of things. So, but we're steadily moving to a certain point, better so than I thought. So we'll get it taken care of.
Good question, though, Arthur. That's a good question. So you know what to tell them now.
Let me say also, Mr. Day, that brick and mortar building will come when the other establishment come.
Yes.
You'll actually see one. Mayor said, Wells is closing on 13th. What Synovus branch is closing since you mentioned it?
Up on Stadium Drive. It's closing on October the 16th.
Mm-hmm.
So, there are branches being closed. And I think I shared with you all, the supply changes with this COVID has really caused some harm because, I want to be careful. I know that it's been hard for banks to keep coins. And what banks has done, if you have a check for, say, $100.65, they would just give you $101 to keep the change. But the supply chain, just with everything, just has dampened the flow of the economy in a lot of industries. So, but it too shall pass. Synovus has decided to close the branch on Stadium Drive. The good thing, all those people still have a job, and Wells is closing on 13th Street. I'm not sure when they're closing. But there's some other branches.
By the end of the year.
Banks.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But there's some other ones.
We'll
you know,
move
that's
now.
around our area. Yeah. All right. Good question, Mr. Day. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Yes.
Proceeding on the utilities department, we have a resolution in reference to authorizing the mayor and city manager to enter into a contract agreement with City Base to purchase a wall kiosk in the amount of $72,000 with an ongoing monthly maintenance fee of $250 for the first 3 years. We'll ask Ms. Lee to read that resolution, and I will ask for a motion and a second from the council. Okay? Question, comments, or discussion?
Yes, Mayor, I do have a question to Mr. Stephen Smith. Give us the pros and cons of this particular project here, and how much would the city save on that?
This is not so much saving as it is a convenience to our citizens. It will save us some in that, you know, obviously you don't have to have a teller, you know, doing each transaction, but what this will do is provide a kiosk in the front wall of the building up here where somebody can come and pay their water bill 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Yeah, it'll be permanently mounted in the wall there. It should help us in terms of the traffic, you know, once the building gets open in the future. It'll also should help us now with the service window that we've got, so that people won't have to stand in line as long. They'll be able to go up to the kiosk and pay their bill. And so it's much more of a convenience for our citizens than it is a cost savings, but it will save some in terms of our, you know, staff having to deal directly with people when they'll be able to do things electronically. More and more people are doing things, you know, electronically and over online and via, you know, machines of this nature, rather than trying to deal personally.
Well, I think that's a good idea. I think that's fine. Now, Mr. Smith, would you be able to elaborate on that for us tomorrow for our citizens? That's a good idea there.
Certainly.
Steve, will it be same day credit if they get in there before a certain time?
Yeah.
Beg your pardon?
Will it be same day credit if they
Yes,
get
sir.
in there before a certain time of the day?
Yeah, so it will link directly with our systems, and it'll post, you know, when they make their payment.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Okay. All right, council. Any other question, comments, or discussion? Next on the ordinance is a public hearing and a second reading for the ordinance to rezone 1.16 acre tract of land located at 1613 Place Run against Shows owner. I will not ask the clerk to reread it again. I will declare it as a public hearing to give any person or persons an opportunity to address the council. And we will do that by phone, as Melanie mentioned earlier. And after that, I will ask for it to close if we don't have anyone, or even if we do have someone. And then council, I will ask for a motion and a second to approve the public hearing as well as the motion, the ordinance.
Mayor,
Okay.
if I could, Mr. Jimmy Wetzel had phoned earlier and left his phone number so that if we had any questions, if y'all had any questions, we could call him, or during the public hearing, if someone called in and had some questions, you know, we probably could get in touch with him and give them an answer. I just wanted to let you know.
So, okay. So the person, if we do have someone to address the council, are we saying we need to have that person ask him the question?
Well, I'm saying we have a phone number to contact Mr. Wetzel. He's representing Mr. Shows, the owner of the property. So if there's a question that mayor and council have, you know, about this rezone, then we could refer it on to him.
Okay. Okay. Any comments, question, council? If not, proceeding on the D is board appointments. We have Personnel Review Board, 2 openings, Barbara Mitchell and Bobby Gilcrease, that I think has been contacted. Correct me if I'm wrong, Melanie, and they want to continue to serve. Is that correct, Mrs. Lee? Melanie, do you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, sir, I can hear you. I had to come up there and unmute my thing. Miss Mitchell and Mr. Gilcrease are both willing to serve again. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay, and then the other one board appointment is Planning Commission, one opening, that's Annie Lindsay. And she's been contacted also, and she has agreed to serve. Is that correct, Mrs. Lee?
Yes, sir, that is correct.
Okay. So council, normally we, interview those two very important boards, but I guess, and I'm asking at the pleasure of the council, if they want to continue to serve, should we just not even worry about interviewing them as we've done in the past?
No, we don't need to interview them if they want to continue to serve. They've been through that out there.
Okay. All right. I want to ask the council, the rest of the council, what's your take on it?
I spoke for them.
Yeah, it doesn't work that way. Council, any other council members?
I will say this, I'm on the board with Miss Lindsay, and Miss Lindsay is very qualified, and she is, even with this Zoom going on, she may have missed one meeting, but she's very well qualified, and I would love to be able to reappoint her myself. I think she's a good fit for the board, and Ms. Mitchell, Mr. Bobby Kilcrease, I know them, but I'm not on that board, so I don't know anything of how the board or how their schedule has been showing, doing it without missing them. But I'm sure that they have been well qualified and been a good board member also. So I don't see anything wrong with reappointing all of them.
Okay. Griff and Mr. Johnson, you all okay?
Yep.
Okay. And I will tell you this, the girls downtown upstairs does a great job in keeping up with the absence and presence. So if they had been in a problem with any of these persons, it would have come to our attention already. And I just want to just reiterate what Steve said, that because they do a good job with that. Okay. So we're gonna have, who's gonna make the? I'm gonna open it up for nomination. So who's gonna nominate Mrs. Marva Mitchell?
I'll nominate her.
Okay, so Ms. Mitchell, and then we'll get a second. Who's gonna nominate Mr. Kilcrease?
I nominate it.
We need some. Okay, Steve?
I can.
All right. Okay, and Mrs. Lindsay, who's gonna nominate her?
I'll do it. Nobody else do it, I'll do it. You gonna do it,
You,
Mrs.
Mrs. Off you already.
Ms. Johnson?
Who's that?
Johnson.
Okay. Okay. All right. So I will ask for, any nominations, and at the time would be when you all do the nomination, we'll take those separately also. So also on the proceeding on the license application, this is also a second reading. It's an application for an off-premise beer license and off-premise wine license submitted by Deborah Miller for Family Dollar Stores of Alabama LLC, doing business as Family Dollar Store, number 20296, located at 1113 East 280 Bypass, Phenix City, Alabama. The first reading was on the 18th of this month. We'll not ask the clerk to reread it, even though it is the beginning of a new month, but I will ask for a motion to approve the business license application, okay? Any questions, comments, discussion on that? Okay, if not, we're going to proceed on. Jimmy, we don't have anything?
No, sir, no.
Unless something comes up between now and tomorrow. All right, well, that's good. Council, anything you all want to say before I ask the city manager? Anything he wants to say? Council, anyone?
Yeah, I like to say this, Mayor. I like to thank all the, I must say, congratulate all the folks that ran for the school board, stepping up, doing their civic duty in the community. I want to say congratulations to all of those that took the time out of their schedule to be a good fit for this community on the school board. And I also like to take this opportunity to congratulate Ms. Johnson for her victory on in District 2. And that's about it, Mayor. That's all I have.
Well, thank you all. And I do want to say this, since it's a great segue, is that it is up to us as far as the school board. We all need to understand, like I said, I was on that board for 12 years, and of those 9, I was the president. They don't have per se city charter, but they have a governance covenant. And what we need to make sure that this community knows, because you will be getting some calls. That's an autonomous board. The school board has 1 employee, and that's Randy Whips, and Randy Whips runs the school system. We're going to have to be on the same page with that, because if you follow that ordinance, if you follow that covenant, as I stated about our city charter, it's dynamite. And when it explodes for great things for this community because of following the charter. And that's the same thing with the school system, because again, we certainly depend intertwined with each other. And as good as our school system can become, and as it is, then give us more opportunity to grow and bring new businesses and bring people here. So I appreciate that, Arthur, what you said, but it's up to us to make sure that we articulate that. Because you got some new people that's coming on there, and they've probably been said and told this and that. It does not work that way. It wind up having a lawsuit that ultimately hurts our entire community. Anyone else with anything they have to say?
Mayor, if I could, I'd like to say something really quick. I just want to thank Mr. Hunter and his department heads for all their help for the election. With the election, everything went very well, and I appreciate what everyone did. The lunch was really great. I had a lot of positive comments from the luncheon. That was the golf course. They did a really good job, and I just wanted to let them know that I really appreciate it.
And let me say, I was really concerned about those girls downtown while this process was going on, because let me tell you, they were running around and huffing and blowing in a gun, but they sucked it up. And I didn't get too worried about them as long as they still had some hair in their head. And I was at peace. When I started seeing a lot of it coming out, that's when I really started worrying for them. So we didn't get to that point. So Melanie, you and your team, y'all did a great job, because I know how high pressure it was and how high pressure it can be. So good job on that.
Thank you, Mayor. But I have to say, I couldn't have done it without the ladies here on the 3rd floor. They were excellent.
They were hustling and blowing and going, but they sucked it up, especially in that 4th quarter. And they brought it across the goal line. Good job, y'all. Any other council member, anything want to add and take away before the city manager?
Well, just like what you said, Mayor, about the school system, whether they're appointed or whether they're elected, the city has nothing to do with any of that once you appoint them. And once they're elected, the people of the city have nothing to do with that. You have to let them do their job. But the school board members need to understand they have to let Mr. Wilkes do his job. And if everybody stays in line where they're supposed to be on their side of the road, it works real well. So, everybody just needs to remember that and hope, the best for everybody, the school system, the city, and everybody, because there's new people coming in the office. Fortunately, our group hasn't changed and doesn't change, but we're going to come in with new ideas in 4 years to work on some of these ideas. And I'm looking forward to it, because I know there's a lot of things that we already had in the works that now I believe we'll be able to continue to work on them and go those directions that, all of us would like to see our city progress to. And again, what you just said with Miss Melanie and Tanya and Shannon and them, they do an outstanding job, and nobody ever knows how hard it is behind the scenes until you get into this with everybody. And once you get into it with everybody, you see what the day-to-day workers do and how hard they have to work and prepare. And I'm just pleased that we have such a good group with our city of department heads, workers, city managers, and everybody that's willing to, kudos to our city manager. He lets the city try to run itself a lot of times and only gets involved when he has to, because he's got the right people in position. And when you put the right people in position, the job gets done, and it gets done well. So I just appreciate everybody's ability that we've got working for our city, no matter what their position is. Just wanted to say that.
Thank you, Steve. Anyone else? Okay. Mr. Hunter?
That was well said, Mr. Bailey. Appreciate that. And we got some good workers. It's a lot of time. A lot of us are gonna have to step up. We're going through a lot in our community and in this nation. It's a lot of things going on. It's a lot of things being said, you know. In life, when people come together and you fight for inclusion, your first act shouldn't be to exclude. And some people know what I'm talking about and some won't. When you start looking and you're saying it's majority of a different race on one side or another, if people think that just because that happened, somebody's gonna do someone else wrong, they're wrong, because we have laws, we have policies and procedures, and they don't have a color on them. And that's the great thing about them. They're there for everyone and everybody, and that's what we should follow and should respect. And I hope people understand that in this city, that no one should have any fears because of things that's gone on in the past or what other people are out there that's expecting, especially when it's something that's bad and not right. Well, I think the things and the people that are in place, people that's been elected, are gonna be in place to do the right thing. If they are not, they're gonna find out what the law says. And if they ran off of that and saying they was gonna do something wrong with someone, then when they find out what that could cost their city and what problems it could be with the school board or any kind of manner, I think that they're gonna have to change their mind on that, because you just can't just take over something and start treating people wrong. And like I say, if the people out there, I want to hear me loud and clear. Don't involve me in anything like that, because we're here to try to run a good city. And I'm proud of Phenix City. Worked too hard. A lot of us have worked too hard not to see that. And talking about the clerk's office, I've been around, you know, all of them been working with Melanie for years now. A lot of, well, 3 decades she's been here. And they do a wonderful job. And the thing I like about Melanie is Melanie will question you. If you want
yes, she will.
I love Melanie.
I can tell you that.
I'm gonna tell you, Melanie.
That's accountability, what she called it.
She's gonna make sure it is right. If something happened there in that office, you better believe it's a true mistake, because it's not because you look past it or look over it or anything else. It is a true mistake. And they have a tremendous amount of work. And these elections, they are tough. Tougher than what anybody could ever imagine or dream, putting this in place, the phone calls, the different things they have to do, and working with the department heads. And that's another thing. I'm so proud of the department heads. Every phone call, and she was always bragging on them and telling me that every phone call that they made to ask someone to do something, they got it taken care of, you know. And like I say, Todd is one of the people that was out there doing it, a lot of it himself. He was on the move. I think Todd might need to come work in the clerk's office a little bit. But I mean, all of them, they really got together and got out there and done stuff. Mike, I hadn't forgot you, you know, and they did a wonderful job. I love to see that it went real smooth and a lot of things, and they worked well. Not on that, the other agencies, the police department was everywhere they're supposed to be. You know, we had things even up until the night that we had to count. And I know we got a canvas tomorrow. But I just enjoyed seeing the process work itself and the people that was learning and seeing them learn what they got to do and what they really go through. It was coordinated real well and put together, and they did an excellent job on this particular election, in which she always gonna make sure that that's done. And like I say, I commend the probate judge and the staff from the county and their officers that was there, that was helping. And I'm gonna say this and then go. You know, when we talk about the sinkhole at Shoney's, we talk about, that was I was on that call. Chris, you remember that. That was a very intimidating call. I mean, that hole was so deep to the cars looked like a tinker toy down in there. And our former mayor, Mayor Gillette, and Judge Green was real good friends. And in fact, both of them drove identical cars. And when they came out and we was on the scene, the mayor, former mayor, said to the judge, oh Lord, I'm sorry it got your car. He said, my car over here, that's yours. And hers was, hers was down in the valley, and the water was gushing through there. I mean, we've had to tie ropes off to look down in there. That was a tough situation, but it was all in fun. And and that was basically the judge's auntie-in-law. So we shared some good stories, but I had fun and enjoyed them the night of the election and everything. And like I say, congratulations again for all of you all. We might have used to each other now at this point in time. And like I say, it's been a long time, long career here, and it's been a good career, a real good one. So I'm just proud of the city the way it is. I love Phenix City. I love this area. I hate when things go wrong, but we used to it. That's what we do. We work with people and stuff. So it's a lot of decisions got to be made and going forward. And I know we all will make the right decisions and try our best to do the right thing to make us have, and continue to have the wonderful city that we have. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. Hunter.
Yeah.
Thank you all, council. Love you all. We are a team. And when you are a team, you look out for each other. And if one person on the team look bad, we all look bad. If one person on the team looks good, we all look good. But we as individuals of this team should work hard to make the people on this team and around us look good more so than we do ourselves. And I appreciate you all. May God continue to bless us. And I do want to say that we'll see you all by the grace of God in the morning at 9 o'clock. And this meeting is adjourned. Thank you all so much.
Thank you.